Good evening, my friends and Mr. Harris. Today we will have a webinar in translation class, Human versus Machine in Translation. Are we there yet? With me, Ulfah as the moderator, and Yohanes Galih as the presenter, and Cinda and Marceline as the judges. Yohanes will present his paper entitled Hyperbole Found in Legenda Danau Toba, a study of translation strategies and equivalence. This class will be divided into two sessions. The first session will be Yohanes presenting his paper, and the second session will be the QA session with the judges. After the judges ask their question, the audience are also encouraged to ask a question to the presenter. Okay, so without further ado, let's begin with the first session. Yohanes, the screen is yours.
Okay, good afternoon, people. So I will present my seminar proposal. The title is Hyperbole Found in Legenda Danau Toba, a study of translation, strategy, and equivalence. Okay, formulation of problem. The first problem is what strategy that used in analyzing the translation of the text from Indonesian to English in Legenda Danau Toba. The second is what equivalents are used in the text Legenda Danau Toba. Okay, object study Legenda Danau Toba taken from a website Ilmu Bahasa Inggris. The writer by Icha was uploaded on January 9, 2021. Methodology, generic data from website. Generic data taken from the translator data, that is Icha. Okay, relevant studies. The relevant studies first is Untitled. The title is The Equivalence and Strategy Applied in the Translation of Idioms Found in Diary Si Bocah Tengil, Kenyataan Pahit. And the second, from Nadia's thesis, the title is The Indonesian Translation of Metaphor in Brown's Inferno, Equivalent and Translation Strategy. Okay, sorry, sir. Anthony thesis, which focus on equality and translation procedure, is similar to this research. However, there is one distinction between this study and Anthony research. This study focused on the hyperbole, whereas Anthony research focused on the idiom in the story above. And the second is Nadia research and Nadia thesis. This research has similar with Nadia's, with focus on equivalent, and translation strategy. However, there is a slight difference between this research and Nadia thesis. This research focused on hyperbole, while Nadia focused on the metaphor contained in the novel. The theory. I use theory of hyperbole. According to Rand and Martin, in 1981, in hyperbole, a statement is made emphatic by overstatement. It means that some words which are used in a novel are overstatement from true meaning. And the second theory is theory of translation. Theory of translation meaning. Translation is producing in the receptor language the close natural equivalent of the message of the source language, first in terms of meaning and secondly in terms of style, according to Eugene Nida. The third theory of translation strategy. The first theory, translation strategy, is a translation strategy. Translation strategy is a method that translator employ to solve problem with translation. As a result, the translation approach begins with the translator becoming aware of the problem and conclude with the translator either solving the problem or acknowledging that it cannot be handled, and this moment in taken from 1991. And the second theory is Suryawinata and Haryanto, quoting a lot of Newmark's thought, divide the various translation strategy into two main types: structural strategy and semantic strategy. Semantic strategy means translating vocabulary from Indonesian to English without adding words and using formal equivalent. The translator changes the original structure of the source language into target language and into target language sentence to achieve the same effect. This change is made if there is difference between the structure of the source language and the target language that is reasonable. This modification can be in the form of changing the plural form to singular, the position of adjective to changing the overall sentence structure. This strategy called semantic strategy. Structural strategy is related to sentence structure. Structural strategy has a mandatory nature of as a must because the target language structure requires such a thing to produce the accuracy and naturalness of the message in the target language. Theory of equivalent. Equivalent is a word or text has the feeling or being equal in terms of value and significance. It may be comparable in terms of degrees, presentation, and status, according to Bell in 1991, page 84. According to NIDA, 1964, there are two types of equivalent, formal equivalence, and dynamic equivalence. In page 159. A formal equivalent is language that regularly associate one word with a specific word in the target language, usually for the purpose of conveying its essential meaning. Footnotes and brackets are occasionally used, although the major attention is on the original text and the maintaining the meaning, the syntax, paragraph, sentence composition, and formal indicator are all identical to the source language. And the dynamic equivalent keeps the message. The language use varies, and one term in the target language is not tied to the exact word. The importance of the concept expressed in words, as well as the understanding of the readers, should not be overlooked. Nah, this is the data. From the data, it can be seen that translation strategy and equivalent use are almost the same, only differing in point 5. The data use structural strategy with dynamic equivalent. And the data from point 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 using semantic translation and formal equivalent. Okay, the conclusion is the research found the strategy and equivalent use. Semantic, structural strategy, and equivalent structural dynamic equivalent are used in obtaining data. Okay, thank you. This is the reference. Thank you. Who have a question about seminar proposal? My seminar proposal.
Okay, so that is Yohanes' presentation. And now let's move on to the second session, which is a Q&A session with the judges. First, we will begin with Cinda.
Okay, thank you, Yohanes, for the great presentation. So I have some questions. I want to ask, who is the target of your research, and do you have any difficulties in analyzing your data? So that's all my question. Thank you.
Sorry, Cindy, can you write in commenter, chat?
Oh, okay. I send it.
Okay. Okay. Other question?
Marceline can ask her question.
Okay.
Marceline, the other judges.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I have several questions for your paper. Okay. Hello. I have several questions for your paper. The first one is, how many data are you analyzing? And the second one is, in your definition of hyperbole, you take Wren and Martin statements that hyperbole is basically an overstatement, which meanings are exaggerated from their genuine meaning. But do you think these statements support you, including phrases like sangat cerdik, sangat lincah, sangat malas, sangat marah, and also terpaksa, which you count as hyperbole? So can you give me the reason why those phrases are counted as hyperbole? And itu dulu aja.
Okay. Thank you, Shalin.
Thank you, Marceline, for delivering your question. So, Yohanes, will you answer their question now?
Give me a minute. Thank you.
Okay. In the chat box, we also have other question, like from Yemima and Misela also delivering her question.
Okay, I will answer the Yemima question. I just why did you just okay? Since my main topic is hyperbole, and those two theory only for support to analyze the hyperbole from the object, like translation strategy and equivalent. And Okay. The answer of the question is the text from uh, Danau Toba, Legenda Danau Toba in the website Ilmu Bahasa Inggris, and the writer is Ica.
Is that the answer? Galih?
Okay, wait.
Oh.
And I want to answer the question from Michela Pratama. I choose hyperbole because I want to focus on that topic from my paper because of or because figurative language terlalu luas, uh, too wide.
Sorry, Yohanes, but can you answer from the judges first? That is from Cinda and Marceline.
Okay, from Cinda is finished, and Marceline, I have 6 data, but I forget to ganti di paper. So in my presentation, I have 6 data, but in my paper have I haven't changed the new one because I have problem when I do the paper.
So how many data in total that you analyze in your thesis? I mean, how many hyperbole that you found in the whole story?
I have that. I have the data from the text. I analyze total 24 or 23. I forgot. I'm sorry if I have mistaken.
Okay, it's okay. Because I thought all the 6 are all that you found in the story. So it is not right.
Sorry,
Okay.
could you repeat the question?
No. Because I think the 6 data that you put on your table is all that you found in the story. So it is not right.
Yes, it's all my data.
Okay.
Okay, I will answer the Meliana. Sorry, I will answer the Meliana question and the method. I use generative data and taken from the website Ilmu Bahasa Inggris. Then and the writer is Icha. And before I'm not interview with Icha because Icha have her own translation that I used in my research.
Sorry, but I think you missed something. Meliana first asks about the research method you apply in your study. What method you apply in your study, Galih?
I use generic methodology. I use methodology from generic data that taken from the website Ilmu Bahasa Inggris. The writer is Icha.
Or there is a research method. I think research method is like a descriptive or qualitative or quantitative one. There is the method of research. The generative is a kind of data, not the method you apply in your research. Uh,
Wait. I look my paper.
you can share your screen again, I think. So we audience can see your screen once more.
Okay, wait. The presentation or the paper.
I mean the presentation, your presentation. You can share your screen again with the audience.
Okay, wait.
Can you go to the research method slide?
Sorry, I forgot to include the research method in presentation. Okay, I before I use quantitative method method because mm, uh, the quantitative is more sesuai in my paper, in my research.
Okay, so you use quantitative research method for your method. Cinda, is that
Sorry.
answer? Okay, so you use quantitative method, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Cinda, is that answer your question? Cinda?
Yes, sorry.
Is that answer your question from Galih? He said he used quantitative method for his method.
So the difficult, is it the difficulties that he found?
Oh. Galih, have you answered the difficulties in analyzing the data? You can answer it now. For Marceline, sorry, but can you write down your question in the chat box? The first and the second as well. Thank you.
Can I answer the other people question before move to Salim?
Again.
Okay. I will answer the Giuseppe question. And the reason why I choose Legenda Danatoba as your object of study, because Danatoba have a beautiful place, in my opinion, and when I was a child, I go to Danatoba in my family, so I have memories from Danatoba.
You can move to other question like Marceline, the second question is not answered. And you also have another question from Maria Trifosa. It's about what makes you think Legenda Danau were to be analyzed in this research?
Okay, I will answer the Maria Trifosa question. I do think legenda notable word to be analyzed and research because and text since the notable text is match about my my topic about hyperbole and translations about hyperbole because in the text I think cukup untuk menjadi data. I think like that.
Okay, Maria Trifosa, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you for asking. And this is the second question from Marceline. In your definition of hyperbole, you take Ren and Martin's statement that hyperbole is basically an overstatement, which meaning are exaggerated from their genuine meaning. From this definition, do you think sangat cerdik, sangat lincah, sangat marah, sangat malas, and also terpaksa should be counted as hyperbole? And if so, can you explain the reason? And that is the second question from Marceline.
Okay, give me a minute.
Galih, have you found the answer for the second question of Marceline? If not,
Okay, I will answer. I will answer the second question from Marceline. On the theory I used, the word that Marceline mentioned counted as hyperbole since the theory have the own meaning of hyperbole. That's it's my question from for Marceline.
okay, Marceline, does that answer your question?
May I ask another question? It is that, what is the theory? What does the theory say? Okay, so you show the theory of hyperbole, right? In here, hyperbole is a statement. It is an offer statement. Do you think that sangat cerdik, sangat lincah, sangat marah, sangat malas is an offer statement?
If you use sangat in the words, apa ya? Itu kayak ungkapan lebih gitu loh. Melebih-lebihkan gitu. Jadi termasuk hyperbole. Menurut teorinya si Brand and Mark.
Okay, so may I ask one more question as a judge? So can I?
You can, Celine.
Okay. I want to clarify about your analysis. In data number 1, 2, and 3, those phrases, sangat cerdik, sangat lincah, sangat malas, they have the same pattern, right? Patternnya sama, apa ya? Ya, sangat ini, sangat itu, gitu kan. And then you counted those translation as formal equivalence. But in data number 5, sangat marah, which are translated to was so angry, you include that into dynamic equivalence. Can you explain the difference between those data? So in data 1 here, sangat cerdik is translated in the target text as very astute. And then sangat lincah, very agile. Sangat malas, very lazy. And so on. And then in data here, sangat marah is translated into very angry. But the strategy and equivalence is different from the rest. Thank you.
Oke, point 5. Yes, istrinya sangat marah and the target text was so angry. I choose structural strategy because the source text have 2 words and the target text to be 3 words, and so mengubah struktur kalimatnya menurut teorinya yang tak pakai. Menurut teori what I use.
Okay, so we'll look at the data number 1. Sangat cerdik is translated into very astute. It's also 2 words. The strategy is semantic, not structural.
I think I'm not teliti about analyze the data, so I miss some some data analyzed. So I'm sorry because I have not prepared more to present my seminar proposal.
Okay. Thank you, Galih.
Okay, thank you, Zelin.
Thank you, Celine, for asking, and thank you, Galih, for answering the question. So this is the end of our class today. Thank you to the presenter, judges, as well as all the class audience. Thank you for joining the class today, and see you next time.